Welcome to the Phoenix Risings podcast. As part of the helping side of our series, let's talk about a recent movie release, The Sound of Freedom, which is about Tim Ballard, the founder of Operation Underground Railroad. I'll give you a trigger warning here, not only for the content, but also possibly for my language. The film is a great go some afternoon, see it. It gives you a great explanation of what human trafficking is. There are good examples of how the children were brainwashed into believing their families thought that they were where they were supposed to be. There was an excellent example of the branding that occurs, the tattooing that occurs in trafficking. Just several clear-cut ways the movie showed trafficking. And for anyone that is unfamiliar with trafficking, this is a great introduction. The actors, especially the children playing the brother and sister, were excellent. Now, I have to admit, the few times the main character playing Tim Ballard came on, I did think about the fact that he had played Jesus in The Passion. And so that was a little confusing a couple of times. But he's a really good actor, so I didn't mind. My heart went out to the kids every time, and especially the scenes with labor trafficking internationally. I wanted all of those individuals to find freedom. The movie brings awareness. The movie directly talks about international trafficking and American sex tourism. American sex tourism is where someone in the United States uses their US passport and goes abroad to another country for the purpose of having sex, usually with a child that they have purchased to stay with them, or multiple children to stay with them for the duration of their vacation, for lack of better terms. The film, though, it doesn't address domestic sex trafficking here in America, nor the arduous road of recovery and healing. I really was disappointed where the film ended. And I know they can't cover everything. But at the same time, everybody in there had tears. They were ready to go kick in doors. So many people in the audience wanted to do something. However, they didn't really know what to do because they didn't see that a child who has been trafficked needs more than an initial rescue. If you think kids need you to saddle up and kick in a door, you're wrong. You're very wrong. And I know some of you will turn off this podcast and tell me to kiss your ass. Guess what? I'm okay with that, because the reality is, unless you have law enforcement with you, unless you have trained people who understand rescue operations, you need to sit down, because you're going to get yourself hurt, or you're going to get a child hurt. Law enforcement is who needs to kick in the doors. FBI, Homeland Security, state police, all of the people that actually have the legal authority to do rescues are the people that are trained and understand how to do them, where as many people, if not all, walk away alive. I understand. I get you want to help. I know you feel called, especially after seeing a film or hearing a survivor speak. You've prayed, or you've talked to someone, you and your friends have talked, and you want to help. Your heart physically aches at the pain that you saw or witnessed or heard, especially knowing that that person was an innocent child. Please let professionals do their jobs. There are numerous ways for you to step in and help. Numerous. You can be involved in the fight. And as a matter of fact, if you actually want to go kick indoors, fantastic. Go get trained. Go get yourself hired by law enforcement and go forth and conquer. Please, we need more good guys. We need dozens upon dozens of good men, women, other individuals who are willing to step up and put their lives on the line to help children. You just have to go through the right steps. If you're not into being in law enforcement, you're not into going into the military, you're not into getting trained and doing high stakes security and things like that, no problem. I got a bunch of other ways you can help. For one, connect with nonprofits like ours. I mean, we're all over. Webpage, internet, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Find us. Second, share on social media. Tell people about what we're doing. Tell people about trafficking. Tell people to be paying attention. Talk about events. Talk about fundraisers. Talk about ways for people to plug in. Third, volunteer. Complete a background check. Meet with staff. Do your training. Go through all of the steps to where you set yourself up to be able to then work directly with a child impacted by trafficking. It takes time. It takes effort. You have to learn how to build the rapport and the relationships. You don't get to just walk in and be partnered with a child who has been traumatized as badly as a trafficked child has been. Fourth, make a monetary donation to a local organization, ensuring their work continues. If you want to make a local impact, like you saw in the film, all this international impact and all of these international rescues and the mission of the film's founder to help internationally, and you say, what about the kids here in the US? What about the kids here in my hometown? What about them? Then find an organization that works directly with domestic trafficking. If you want to make a local impact, then support a local organization. But you have to do your due diligence and research to find out. Fifth, find out what materials they may need. Shampoo, coloring books, stuffed animals, then make a donation. You know, one of the things we do is year-round, we collect for our care kits for kids. These are duffel bags that we give to foster kids at Christmas that have comfort items and hygiene items, because many of the kids that we work with have been pulled from their homes, pulled from the streets, and they arrive with not even a trash bag of belongings. So we want them to have a bag that is theirs, but also has our logo on it to say, there are people out here that are wanting you to be in a better place. They are fighting for you. They're here to mentor you. They're here to help you find resources. And so our Care Kits program is a great way. You know, kids who have experienced trafficking, exploitation, or some form of child abuse get to have something they can hold their hands on and call their own, no matter where they go in the system, no matter if they're adopted, if they're placed in a foster home, or if we find a non-connected family member. We want them to still recognize there are people out here that they can talk to. Another thing you can do is Organize a survivor-led training at your church, women's group, civic group, or even your job. Become more familiar with the fight against trafficking. Recently, airlines have reported that all of their staff has been trained in trafficking, and we've seen victims be found. Hotel staff, the same thing is happening. They're getting trained. They are recovering individuals. They're making the calls. Truckers Against Trafficking, another great organization. They train and provide resources to truck drivers, police officers, Department of Transportation people, all so that the people on our roads will be aware and be on the lookout for trafficking. Say your company, you're a cable company, you go into people's homes. That's definitely a way that you can see if there's trafficking. We've received calls from municipal utilities because someone learned about trafficking and saw a situation and was able to identify a child being trafficked and helped us help the law enforcement get that child to safety. Anywhere you are, you can be the eyes and ears to help someone being trafficked. Another thing you can do, support a trafficking survivor in their recovery. Say you don't have an organization near you that's doing work, but you know someone, or you have an organization, but you also know of this person. You know, even our organization sometimes forgets to mention healing from trafficking is a lifelong journey. A victim will forever have therapy bills, medical bills, dental bills, vision. They'll always have a need to have a security system. They'll usually need to go on and keep working on themselves in different types of therapy, art therapy, journaling. Some do DBT, some do EMDR, some do Christian counseling. Rescue is only a step. If you know someone, ask, because you may not even realize that this trafficking survivor, they may look like everything's together and things are going great, but they're barely living paycheck to paycheck because they're trying to pay off medical bills. They're trying to make sure that they get their medication every single month so that they can maintain going to work. You know, so often, especially when we see movies, it's yay, rah, 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 kick in the door. And then, yay, let's send the kid to a recovery home, or let's send them to residential treatment for 6 months, or let's get them help this first time. And you forget, decades later, they still have night terrors and they still get shaken by things and they still have complex post-traumatic stress and they still need support. You know, find someone, love on them, whatever you feel called to do. Lastly, seek out an organization where survivors are the leaders. Survivor leadership is a top priority, and survivor voice is front and center. Survivors are in every sector of industry in the world. We are doctors, lawyers, pastors, social workers, counselors, advocates, nonprofit leaders, moms, dads, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, grandmas, grandpas, great grandmas. We are everywhere. We cross every socioeconomic standing. We are in every demographic. We can be found on social media, on television, radio, podcasts, in courtrooms, and even in Congress, fighting for the rights of those who are just starting the healing journey we've been on longer. The film was a great movie. As far as just going and seeing a movie with a friend and getting some general 101 intro to human trafficking, they really did do a good job. Seeing people in my own community show up for a film when they've never shown up for one of our activities or events, I feel like at least they got a chance to finally learn what trafficking was. Because if you don't know, you can't be part of the solution. So now what's your next step? Maybe you'll go out and see the movie if you haven't already. Maybe you will go to our website, phoenixrisingky.org. Maybe you'll see us on social media. Maybe you'll Google us. Maybe you'll connect with a survivor. Whatever it may be, do it with the best intentions. Understand there's going to be steps and policies in place. There are people that can work directly with kids. There are people that may find themselves wanting to help with social media. They may want to help with a website, or they may want to go out and collect canned goods. That's okay. You don't necessarily have to be on the front lines. What I'm asking is you do something. Tell people what you've learned. Trafficking is an epidemic. We are at a point where we are surpassing drug trafficking as the number one organized crime in the world. You can only sell drugs once, and then you need more. You can sell a child dozens of times a day. The supply hasn't stopped because the demand keeps growing. We've got to fight this at every angle. Stop the buyers, stop the traffickers, teach kids self-worth, teach them how to find adults who will help and will listen. Be honest. Talk to your kids. Find a way to volunteer and plug into your community. As we continue along in our podcast, we're going to give you more tips and ways you can become involved. We're going to specialize some of those discussions to certain areas. Say if you're a parent or a grandparent, or you're in a certain industry, we're going to be talking about that. Additionally, on the healing side, you'll find our first workbook, Rising from the Storm. We have given you lessons one at a time for your consideration. If you have been through trafficking, severe trauma of any kind, feel free to listen to those and join us as we work on healing together. Thank you all once again for listening, and I'll see you next time.